Welcome to today's Deep Dive Explainer. We've got an absolute mountain of global and domestic news to get through for June 2nd, 2026. My goal today? Simple. We're going to break it all down for you. From the actual money sitting in your wallet to the shifting geopolitical sands across the globe, we are taking over 30 complex updates and making them perfectly clear.
So here's our roadmap for today. We're looking at 5 key areas. First, the economy in your wallet. Then, India on the global stage. After that, climate, resources, and oil. Then we'll pivot to tech, the future, and education. And we'll wrap it all up with sports and entertainment. Let's get right into it.
All right, Section 1, Economy and your wallet. Let's talk about the direct impacts on your money. Okay, 30 lakh crore rupees. Let that number sink in for a second. That is the unbelievable new milestone UPI transactions just hit here in India. It's a massive number, and it perfectly captures how quickly and permanently we're ditching cash for digital. Seriously, the digital economy isn't some distant future thing anymore, it is the absolute present, and it's propping up some serious domestic growth, even when the rest of the world is kind of slowing down.
Now, it's not all sunshine and uninterrupted upward momentum, right? South Korea's market cap has been surging, and they've actually just bumped India down a spot. So South Korea is now the world's 6th largest stock market, and India has slipped to number 7. On top of that, if you look domestically, GST collection growth just hit a 6-month low. It's still strong overall, sure, but financial experts are definitely watching this closely as a real-time pulse check on our economic activity.
So what does this actually mean for you? Are your EMIs or your daily fuel going to get more expensive? Well, look, the rupee is creeping dangerously close to that 100 mark against the US dollar. Throw in rising oil prices and foreign investors pulling their cash out, you've got a pressure cooker situation. Everyone in the financial world has their eyes glued to the upcoming RBI meeting, because if inflation ticks up from all this pressure, we're likely looking at interest rate changes. And that, of course, directly dictates exactly what you pay for your loans and EMIs.
Moving right along to Section 2. India on the global stage, focusing on diplomacy and geopolitics.
So, India is pulling off this highly strategic balancing act globally right now. On the trade side of things, an India-US trade agreement is in its absolute final stages. They're just hammering out a few lingering tariff and market access details, which could be a huge win for Indian exporters. We're also seeing great progress on the India-UK free trade agreement, which is great news for sectors like textiles, auto, and IT. But it's not just about trade deals, right? India is stepping up its post-G20 diplomatic game through humanitarian aid. Case in point, they just sent critical medical supplies, stuff like protective gear and diagnostic tools, to the Africa CDC to help fight a sudden Ebola outbreak.
But we have to look at the bigger picture. All this growth is happening against a backdrop of serious global volatility. Major economies globally are wrestling with inflation and trade bottlenecks, and a lot of that is fueled by ongoing conflicts. The Russia-Ukraine war is still heavily impacting global food and energy markets. At the same time, you've got these ongoing nuclear disputes between the US and Iran keeping things incredibly strained. We're just reporting the facts here, but there's no denying that these geopolitical friction points are injecting a ton of uncertainty into global supply chains.
And that brings us to Section 3, Climate, Resources, and Oil, basically the physical world. Let's actually walk through how those global tensions hit home, step by step. When tensions flare up in the Middle East, like what's happening right now, global supply chains get spooked. That panic causes global crude oil prices to jump. Now, since India imports the vast majority of its oil, our national import bills skyrocket. And the final domino to fall? Oil companies pass that pressure down, and suddenly you're shelling out more for petrol and diesel at your local pump. It's crazy to think about, but a conflict thousands of miles away literally empties your wallet right here at home.
And speaking of fossil fuels, we absolutely cannot ignore the toll this is taking on the planet. We've got a very stark warning from global scientists today. Heat waves and extreme weather events, they are ramping up everywhere. The scientific community is just flat out telling us we need significantly faster climate action, period. It's a huge reason why so many nations are scrambling to pivot their focus toward green energy projects right now.
But for India specifically, climate stability isn't just about saving the environment. It is the absolute backbone of our economy. Think about the monsoon. It's quite literally a lifeline for Indian agriculture. Now the Met Department is seeing some good monsoon activity down in Kerala, but experts are really sweating the risk of a weak monsoon overall. Because if rain falls short, it threatens to drastically inflate food prices and do some serious damage to the rural economy.
Let's switch gears a bit. Section 4. Tech, the future, and education. Looking at tomorrow's landscape.
We are living right in the middle of an absolute tech boom. The sheer volume of investment pouring into AI, cloud computing, and cybersecurity right now is just mind-blowing. Businesses aren't just playing around with AI anymore, they are aggressively rolling out these tools to automate workflows and boost productivity. To give you an idea of how massive this momentum is, Delhi is actually hosting the AI Summit 2026 as we speak, bringing all the heavy hitters together to figure out exactly how this rapid innovation is going to reshape the global job market. But let's bring it back to the immediate future, especially for the students out there. If you or your kids are in the thick of that incredibly stressful post-exam phase, listen up, because here is your action plan for today. First, for the JEE Advanced Qualifiers, JASA counseling officially kicks off today. This is it, the crucial gateway for getting into IITs, NITs, and IITs. Second, for the CBSE Class 12 students out there who maybe aren't thrilled with their results, the official portal to verify marks and request a reevaluation is open right now. So make sure you jump on those deadlines today.
All right, take a breath. Section 5, Sports and Entertainment. Let's do a little cool down.
Time for some rapid-fire sports updates. On the cricket front, Hardik Pandya has checked into the BCCI Center of Excellence down in Bengaluru, getting his fitness and form dialed in for the upcoming Afghanistan ODI series. Over in hockey, the squad for the FIH Women's Nations Cup is locked in, and the phenomenal Salima Tete is staying on as captain. Also, definitely mark your calendars for June 12th, because that is when the highly anticipated ICC Women's T20 World Cup kicks off. And right here on home soil, the Soft Women's Championship is in its absolute final thrilling phase, with the best teams in South Asia battling it out for the title.
Moving over to entertainment, I've got some massive news for all the football fans watching. The whole broadcasting rights drama in India for the 2026 FIFA World Cup? Solved. Z has officially locked down the agreement, which means you're going to have super easy access to watch the tournament. The market absolutely loved this, by the way. Z Entertainment shares totally surged today on the news. Oh, and for the gamers tuning in, get ready. PlayStation's massive State of Play event is happening today, and the community is practically vibrating with excitement over some potential huge game reveals.
Well, we have definitely covered a lot of ground today, haven't we? From jaw-dropping UPI numbers and new global trade deals to spiking oil prices and some pretty grim climate warnings. Look, India is undoubtedly one of the fastest-growing major economies out there right now, heavily backed by this incredible digital infrastructure. But I want to leave you with a thought to chew on. With global slowdowns looming, international conflicts dragging on, and climate risks piling up, is India's domestic growth story truly bulletproof enough to weather the coming storm? It really is the defining question of our time. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and as always, keep learning.